AJ Preller absolutely went off for the trade deadline today. We got to talk about all of the action. This one specifically about how the Padres added the bats that may be the difference between where we are at and where we want to be as World Series champions. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning into the show, where me and Andrew, just a couple dudes on the internet, blab on and emotionally over and under react about all things Padres all season long, all video long. If you want to leave a comment, that would be great. And also, if you want to hit subscribe, it would be much appreciated. If not, no worries. Won't bug you about that again until the end of the video. All right, a lot to talk about, like literal infinite amounts, but this one going to be on the Padres making a deal with the Baltimore Orioles to pick up a pair of bats. Let's talk about this deal right here, as first reported by Jeff Passan, then on to the other sources. Padres dealing with the Orioles, they get a first baseman, Ryan O'Hearn, and an outfield option, read that as left fielder, Ramon Laureano. Apologies for always being bad with names. Much better with baseball players, or at least according to some of you in the comment section I am. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about here's what the full trade ended up being. Two guys for the Padres, Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano. The Orioles get an absolute haul from the San Diego Padres. Boston Bateman, Cobb Hightower, Tyson Neighbors, Victor Figueroa, Brandon Butterworth, Tanner Smith. Do you need to know any of those names on the Padres side? No. This is very much Orioles have hit this is, from my perspective, is very much Orioles are taking a stick of dynamite to it, really rebuilding things, getting rid of any assets that were down to the last couple of years, or like, because they got rid of Cedric Mullins and a couple of other pieces that gets them anything they can, and kind of throwing everything at the wall. When you pick up 6 in exchange for 2, chances are something out of that will make it to the major leagues. Now, in all of what we talk about, from trading LDV down to Tanner Smith, an unranked prospect, anybody can go on to be anything. So top prospects can fail and fizzle out. Bottom prospects can be Mike Piazza and go from last round drafted to a Hall of Famer. So baseball is weird like that. So in anything, I want to admit that there can be a worst case scenario where this is the Padres getting fleeced or taken or cooked or something like that. But trying to take this as the most grounded reality as possible, this seems like a fantastic trade on its own, let alone as a bigger part of the framework that the San Diego Padres did on the trade deadline closing day. Looking just kind of at the stats, let's start with O'Hearn. Here is how he is hitting this year. He's listed as first base. First base can also be DH, so read that as I don't know what the deal is going to be between him and Arraez, if one of them is going to need all of the snaps at first, or if they can split that right there. But 285, 13 home runs is fantastic. Obviously, it's a change of scenery, it's a change of ballparks, it's a change of da-da-da-da-da-da. No promise that he maintains this, but just as likely as it is to say no promise that he maintains this, there's the very likelihood that he can go ahead and just go up as easily as he can go down. But I do think sticking him in a good lineup, which the Padres are ostensibly, despite our singular problems of like the 8 and 9 hitters just being a black hole of offense, adding this in to fill that DH spot or to fill the first base spot and then move Arraez over to that DH spot, fantastic move. He is somebody who, like I said, the Orioles are doing a fire sale, it would seem. Here is the O'Hearn contract status. I love looking at these numbers. I will keep it brief and just be like, yeah, this is a rental. He is in the last year of a club option from the Orioles. He's 31, going to be 32 next year, and he's an unrestricted free agent. Not to say with any of this that this isn't a person who we can then go to re-sign. Sure, not going to debate that. But for the right now, we are picking him up as a rental. So going to get what we're going to get out of O'Hearn, and we'll kind of go from there on the where does he fit larger picture into this. Laureano, these are the numbers here for our new outfield. But again, I say read that as left field because it's unlikely he's going to snag a spot from Merrill or Tatis. But he and Sheets can be platoon there, can be basically you now have actual depth for the Padres. You have between Arraez and O'Hearn at first and Sheets and Laureano in left, you have an actual platoon with which to fill 3 spots with 4 players, be it who's going to play first, who's going to play DH, or who's going to play left on any given day. It used to be, well, we had Sheets and Arraez, and there was just a revolving door of DHs. Now it seems like we've got pretty fixed options, that we've got a couple of good guys that can fill in offensively at any given spot. I like adding this. Again, I get that nothing is foretold that this guy has to keep hitting this well, but I would like to optimistically think that being injected into this Padres lineup will be healthy for both of these guys, offensively speaking. So this is also one where I like what they're doing here because Laureano, the contract is somewhat favorable for the Padres. I'd say somewhat because it is only 1 more year of an option, but it's a guy that, if we like this and we want to keep the core together and he ends up working out really well and he's hitting 285 or above, I don't see why you don't at least consider that club option. So all in all, a beneficial trade for the Padres. Let me know, like I said, on what you think on all of this, but I think it's a win. The question is now, how much in aggregate is this improvement? And is this enough to get us over the hump? Is the hump the Dodgers? Is the hump the World Series? Assuming none of you are going to be happy until we win one, but I think we can all admit, making it is a huge step in the right direction. So is this enough to push us to, let's call making the World Series, beating the Dodgers or whoever in the NLCS to get there being the ultimate goal? Do these 2 bats add that to the Padres? Obviously, only time will tell, but I am confident in a way that I have not been in this team all year with these 2 guys added. There's never been a permutation where I'm like, oh man, if only we got back to that without it being adding pieces. There's always been a need to add. There's always been a need to add. And while neither of these guys fix the catching offensive roles, if we dilute all of this down to just, oh man, our catcher is hitting 220 as our hole in our offense, that's not bad. That's really, I don't feel like if that's our only issue, I'm deluding myself into thinking that this is a good baseball team, if not back to bordering on elite. Like I say, though, let me know what you think. This is a lot to process for us as Padres fans, so take your time, think it out. We're going to have plenty of reaction videos come in the coming week as we start to see this all infused into the lineup and figuring it out. Could be a couple awkward transition games, but I think it is going to work out quite nicely. And like I said at the beginning, if you could also hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. If not, talk to you guys soon.